We're back, people, and today we're breaking down film on Brenton Strange, Penn State tight end, and I'm a fan of his game as a day 3 pick. I think he's a sleeper in this draft class. At the combine, he came in about 6'4", 250. He tested pretty well overall with his explosive and 40-time grades. His agility was just okay, but I think that's pretty good for a day 3 tight end. He comes in, he's a really good run blocker. You get him in multiple different alignments out on the move. He does a really good job on those split zones, attacking angles. He's very physical at the point of attack. His run after catch ability is really good, which I think is really important in today's NFL. And if you're a Dolphins fan watching this, like McDaniel and Greer just met with him at the Penn State Pro Day, you could tell they were very interested in him. With those limited picks, I think he's definitely a big option for them on day 3. He's very intriguing. He fits the scheme perfectly. You get the ball in his hands, and he has a chance to make a big-time play. He's physically strong. He has a good feel in space. And I think his route running is actually pretty underrated. You can use him in multiple different ways, but it was mostly like an opportunity issue as a route runner at Penn State. Didn't get a ton of production in that area. But when he did run routes, he showed some promise there. I think his biggest weakness is probably hands. He has some inconsistency with his hand catch technique and some concentration, but those are things that you can work on. Strange, lined up out in the slot. He can be an inline tight end or a slot tight end. Doesn't have to do anything too crazy here in his route because the safety is playing super far off, so he doesn't do anything too crazy. But he gets a nice look here in scramble drill, and you just see his yards after catch ability. We'll go back, watch this a little more slowly. Initial corner route, gets that separation, doesn't waste any time, pretty smooth in his transition there. He sees the QB escape the pocket, and he's feeling this safety, getting into close to his hip pocket, so he just spins out of it. So really good feel, and scramble drill catches it, and instantly, is going to get tackled or hit as he's catching the ball, so he secures it. But he shows us some nice play strength, contact balance, preparing for this hit, and now he just stays on his feet, keeps his feet below his body here, runs through these tackles, and then shows off some speed and explosiveness to finish this play for a touchdown. He's got that big time playmaking ability. He just is like that perfect fit for today's NFL. This tight end class is so good. I think you get him on day 3 and you're very, very, very happy with that pick. Alignment, versatility, very important. You get him aligned in tight slot, work him as a guy who's gonna block down on these defensive ends, get these crackback block looks, and he just takes this defensive end completely out of the play. On these pin pull concept, you want to get your running back to the outside. This is something he's got to be able to do at the next level, and he's very comfortable being one-on-one with DN straight up, but also using him in many different ways. Get him on the move. It's very special to watch him play. Like if you're a Dolphins fan, you know how McDaniel used Ingold and Durham Smythe last year. Brenton Strange would be another piece to that puzzle and how you could use him. Love getting a guy that can work in motion constantly, because a lot of times when you watch tight ends work from stationary, work on the move, they will miss and have trouble sustaining blocks, but that is not a problem at all with Strange's game. Here we get to see Strange really block on the move on a split zone concept. You can see him, he works well in motion. He can also work just non-motion pre-snap, but then move post-snap. He takes great angles to point of attack, and when you this is a pretty nice play. Attacking an Ohio State D end while you're completely moving, drop the shoulder into him, and then sustain after while getting a big hit. A lot of times you see them either take a poor angle. Usually when a defensive end's on a block like this, they're expecting this, but he attacks that and puts that shoulder right into the chest, and then also now gets his hands engaged to sustain and stay with the block. Great angle to the point of attack, understands his responsibility. This is a very, very nice, underrated play by Brenton Strange. Just finding his tape, I really came away impressed. I think, there's some things he needs to improve on in the passing game, developing as a route runner, his hands and things like that. Those are things while he'll go day 3. But the blocking and yards after catch, there's a few systems in the NFL that really value those things. And if he goes to one of those teams like the Dolphins, Niners, anything from the Shanahan tree, basically, he's going to be a very solid player at the next level. Here's another play example of Strange's yak ability, yards after catch. Really nice working off screens. He's very comfortable being a screen type of player, getting those tight end screens, working this sort of jailbreak type of screen right here, setting this up to the outside. He looks back, catches it. This is good hand catch technique. When he's straight, he struggles with his hand. When it's in between the chest and stomach area, he doesn't know which way to put his hands over the top, cup the ball. But when it's to the head, he looks a little more comfortable. Now he just gets his eyes upfield, and you can just see him run through some arm tackles. He gets hit in the legs, stays up, drops his shoulder into another guy, stays up, and then picks up an extra 5 yards there. It's just those hidden yardages. And as a tight end, you want to, be able to be physical at the point of attack, be athletic. And if you're able to get those hidden yardages throughout the games, those are more important than people think. Here's another example of Strange blocking out on the edge, him being, the blocker on a screen out here. This is another important area. Look at him just finish this block on the safety, taking him to the ground. He squares him up. He's got really good technique here. He breaks down. He squares it up, keeps his base well, gets his hands a little wide. The right hand is a little wide there up in the shoulder, but his left hand's got good placement. Now he's just sustaining, turning, and just driving him down the field. You can look at the leg drive right there. Finish this block. Being able to block out in space on these screens, another important thing. You've seen him block on the move, seen him crack back block. Now we get to see him block out in space on a screenplay. That another area he's very comfortable. There's a lot of good blocking tight ends in this class, but I think this is one of the guys you can get that's a fit for your team if you're looking for a blocker, yard after catch type guy. You miss out on a player like Darnell Washington or Sam Laporta. You get Brenton Strange on day 3, and you're definitely happy with that pick. Versatility. Strange has so much, comfortability playing in line. They're doing a bit of a trick play here, and he's lined up as an offensive tackle, and no one really notices it because he's just such a good blocker. They trust him on the inside, and this ends up being him faking the block, getting out on the, quick seam pop pass. Definitely something you would see the Niners do last year. You see a little bit of speed after the catch, but this just want to really show off the versatility. Sets this up perfectly, and once he sees all the space in front of him, he just snaps his eyes around real quick. So nice, solid processing play here too. And then you have the awareness, take the angle as far away from the safety as possible so you can maximize the yardage. Here's a reason why Strange I didn't feel like was super productive. A lot of times he was just chipping DNs, like good DNs, taking them out of the play. Look at him just knock that guy over, basically, completely taking him out of the play. This is an area where you'll definitely see him use at the next level, helping in pass protection, being a chip guy. Really good job attacking the low hip too, completely displacing and moving that defensive end. And now he just becomes a flat guy. He was, open here. You could have thrown it to him if the quarterback saw him, but he had a guy open over the middle. Just a nice little check down option type of player that can work and help in pass protection, get him out in the flat because yard after catch is probably his strongest trait as in the passing game. Strange doesn't get targeted on this play, but I just want to show this play to see some of his route running ability. There's a few examples like this on tape where he actually works like a slow paced tempo here. He sets this up, waits for the other route to develop, allows, this to be more of like a rub here. He doesn't want to, overdo it, over excel. He gets a little too tight to this receiver. I'd like to see him maybe slow it down a little bit, but he gets up, uses a little bit of a, hezzy skip move here, and then makes a nice sharp break to the outside to create some separation versus safety. Just nice to see that he's able to do this. Has, an understanding if he can slow it down, mix things up, attack leverage. I've seen him attack leverage a few times on tape, working his angles, manipulating some DBs. It's just not something that you see a ton of. And I think the hand thing, I only watched a few games because that's all I had on him. But in the few games there, like this Iowa game in specific, he had like multiple drops in this one. I just don't know. Maybe because like there were some other people that I saw him had like plus ball skills, and maybe he does in those other games. But the games I watched, he definitely did struggle catching at the point of attack. I love this play from Brenton Strange, just working over the middle of the field, finding the soft spot in the zone, sort of snap your eyes around. Their quarterback wants to get the ball out quickly, and he just sort of, he probably floats a little too far into the, these two defenders. But I love the fearlessness, catching this over the middle of the field. You got to be able to do this as a tight end, make these tough catches, and he gets hit here by two people, and he still stays on his feet. Like, that is toughness, that is play strength. He fights for the first down marker, like when he's multiple yards short, and gets very, very close. I love the effort. First of all, awareness, seeing 25 come on the blitz, and once he sees the guy lined up basically over the top of him come on the blitz, he just snaps his eyes around, so he's a very aware player versus zone, finding the soft spot, sort of drifts maybe a little bit too far, but takes a hit, very physical, great play strength, contact balance, carry, get as many yards as you possibly can. Probably comes up a little bit short of the down and distance, but impressive play nonetheless. Last play that I'll break down, Brenton Strange right here. You get him lined up in the backfield as like a sniffer type of player, and you get him on the move again. He does a good job adjusting here too, because he's like sort of working off the puller, and the puller doesn't get out as far out wide as he thought he would. This guy condenses this really well. Good job by the defensive end. So he used to, get up into this gap a lot sooner and take on the linebacker, and he still gets up into the gap, takes him on, and is still able to turn it out, you get his back to the running back and create this hole. So he's still able to steal this off. This is a really good block, working your angles, working your leverage, readjusting, because, not things always go as planned. He's expecting, this to go a little bit wider. It gets tighter than he expected. And he just makes that quick adjustment. And sometimes when you're just blocking, sometimes you don't need to, displace defenders, move them out of the way. It's mostly just about positioning. He ends up moving him basically after the running back passes him, but the positioning right here of how he attacks the shoulder of the linebacker is what creates this lane for the running back to maximize the yardage out of that situation. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me who you guys want to see next. Got a lot of, prospects, cut-ups already made, ready to post. It's draft season. I will be posting a bunch of draft players content around this time. I'm a big fan of the tight end class. I've done a lot of work on the tight end class, which I haven't done in probably few years now, because the tight end classes have been so weak. Usually watch like 1 or 2 tight ends, focus on other positions, but I've been enjoying watching a much better tight end class. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys next time. Peace.